Hello, fictional. Welcome to the What If Issei. Today we are gonna see what if Issei had ultimate gacha system. Part 3. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. The following morning, Issei and Rainer woke up late due to their activity the previous night. Issei kissed Rainer on the lips before getting out of bed. He then went to his room and took some clothes to change into after a shower. As soon as Issei entered the shower, Rainer went in too. Issei didn't mind this, and they both enjoyed their shower. When they were done, they headed downstairs. In the living room, Issei and Rainer saw Mickey, Goru, Asia and Office. Office looked normal as she usually does. But the rest had dark circles in their eyes. "What happened to you guys?" Issei asked. This was the first time he had seen his parents have dark circles in their eyes. And Asia had one as well. What was going on? Why do you all have dark circles on your eyes? This, Mickey said. She gestured on her face. Is all your fault. We gave you time last night, but who knew that you two would go at it until 1 a.m. Poor Asia fainted when she heard the noises Rainer was making. Issei and Rainer were shocked. However, Rainer was more so. She wanted to dig a hole and just disappear. 1 a.m. That's how only they did it for they got home at 7 p.m. It didn't even feel that long. Issei and Rainer then gave an apologetic look toward Asia. Except Asia couldn't look them in the eye. She keeps picturing Issei and her doing it. Asia didn't know why. You have very powerful magic, Ice, Goru said. He then looked his son in the eye. Please, next time, can't you put on a silencing spell or something? We don't want to hear our son and his girlfriend having sex. Ha. Now you know how I feel when you and mom would spontaneously have sex after an argument in front of me. Issei said. He was pointing at his father's face. Said father felt embarrassed since he and Mickey do, in fact, forget their surroundings when they're at home. But, yeah. I'll make sure to put up a silencing spell next time. By the way, Ice, Mickey said. She then gestured to Office. Office is feeling a bit felt out. She wants to stay with you. Can you bring her around today? Sure, no problem, Issei said. He then went to Office and kneeled down so that he would be at eye level with her. Hey, next time, you can just ask me if you want to join me, okay? Office nodded and Issei picked her up as he usually does. Anyways, I have to go, Issei said. His parents and Rainer then looked at him. I'll be heading to the mountain to continue Rias and her peerage's training. I'll be back by 7 p.m. Do you mind if I join you? Rainer said. She didn't have any issues with devils and she wanted to compare how Issei trains Rias and her peerage. I promise I won't cause any trouble. Issei just nodded at her and he opened a portal. In the mountain estate of Rias, Akeno, Kaneko and Kiba were ready as they usually are. But this time, Rias was joining them in training. When they saw Issei, they were going to greet him. Until they saw Office and Rainer. Akeno's disgust over the fallen angel was lessened ever since she got her mother back, but there were still traces of it, but that's not why she stopped. Again, Issei brought with him another insane being. Rias rubbed her temple. The last time, Issei brought one of the heavenly dragons. Sure, why not, right? But this time, he brought something even more absurd. Issei was carrying the infinite dragon god as if she was nothing more than a little girl. Can he be any more insane? Issei. Rias called. She was afraid to say anything that might trigger Office. You know that the little girl in your hands is not a little girl, right? Office. Of course, I know she's not a little girl, Issei said. The prospect that Issei knew the identity of Office and yet still continues to treat her like a little girl scares them. Who in their right mind would do that? Issei, that's who. Well, since you already know who she is, I don't have to introduce her to you guys. Issei then looked at Office and pointed to the people in front of him one by one. He introduced Rias and the others to Office. Issei knew that introducing Rias and the others might be in vain. Office doesn't remember the names of those she has no interest in. She won't attack, would she? Rias asked. She still didn't know what to think. She was in the presence of the infinite dragon god. I don't want to die at such a young age. Don't worry, she won't attack you. Unless you take her food, Issei said with a laugh. Rias and the others sighed a breath of relief. If Issei can joke, then it should be fine, right? By the way, the food thing, that's true. The only person Office doesn't attack is me. Rias once again tensed up. She looked at Kaneko and thought she would have to separate her from Office as she might accidentally eat the dragon god's food. From inside the kitchen, Shuri came out and informed everyone that breakfast was ready. And they should all take a seat at the dining table. Shoot. I forgot to eat breakfast, Issei said. He then noticed that Rainer and Office were also hungry. You don't mind if we eat here, do you? I brought my own food. Technically, Issei brought no food. But he can use his mystic arts to conjure them something to eat. Issei, Shuri greeted. She then came close to him. do you want to eat with us? I made plenty of food. If you don't mind, Issei said. Seems like he didn't have to conjure food. He then looked at Office. Never mind, he would still need to conjure food. We're a big eater. If need be, I might cook some more. Kaneko's ear propped up. Unlike the others, Kaneko has tasted Issei's food. She loved it so much that she worked even harder to get another reward. So, hearing that Issei might cook, she got excited. Issei saw this, and he sighed. He created a duplicate and asked it to cook as much as possible. Rias and the others are still amazed at Issei's magic to create a duplicate. The strength doesn't decrease no matter the number of duplicates. In their mind, they all thought that it was a cheat ability. Imagine 100 Issei with all the same strength. Isn't that insane? While Issei's duplicate was cooking, everyone started eating. Shuri is a talented cook, just like her daughter. But Issei believes she can be better. This is delicious, Issei said. He was eating and enjoying the meal. Now I know where Akeno got her talent in cooking. Thank you, Issei, Shuri said. She then looked at Kaneko and Office. But from the looks of it, someone prefers to wait for your cooking. Kaneko felt embarrassed since she realized one of the people Shuri was talking about was her. As for Office, she didn't care. She only likes eating Issei and Mickey's cooking, except that she would eat anything when it comes to sweets. Also, she would eat any food Issei conjures for her. So, she was willing to wait until the food made by Issei was done. Don't mind, Office, Issei said. He looked at her, and he patted her head. Office is a picky eater and would only eat food prepared by myself or my mother. Oh, my, she has the same name as one of the dragon gods, Shuri said. She smiled at Office. Is she your sister? Oh, she's not, but I consider her family, Issei said. Office then buried her face in Issei's chest as she sat on his lap. By the way, she is the infinite dragon god. A loud clang was heard at the dining table. That was Shuri dropping her spoon in shock. She thought she heard wrong. The little girl was the infinite dragon god. This must be a joke. You're quite funny, Issei, Shuri said. She then giggled in her hand. I almost believed you. It's not a joke, Issei said. He repositioned Office as she was slipping off his lap. Office is the infinite dragon god. I met her 2 years ago. She came to my house as she smelt my scent as a dragon. Eh? Hold on, I think I heard wrong, Rias said. She was sure that Issei was meant to be human. Did you say dragon? As in drag like dragon? Yeah, due to circumstances, I'm actually half dragon, Issei said. He then proceeded to transform his right hand into a dragon's claw. See? Pretty cool, right? Even Drake was shocked when I became a half-dragon. Rias was getting more and more surprised by Issei's existence. She would have understood if Issei had transformation magic that temporarily made him into a dragon, but that was not the case. Issei's hand transition from human to dragon was natural, not some transformation magic that Yakai used to look human. A moment later, everyone smelled an amazing fragrance coming from the kitchen. Kaneko, Office and Rainer became excited as they knew it was Issei's food. 3 duplicates of Issei headed their way with a plethora of food. Office, Kaneko and Rainer were salivating at the excitement of eating Issei's food. Smelling the fragrance alone has made the other members of the Orc and Shuri hungry. Even after they just ate breakfast. They all held their stomach and salivated at the food coming their way. The day of the rating game has arrived. Issei was permitted to attend the match. He was watching in the broadcasting room with Sona and Tsubaki, who ensured that the broadcast to the underworld went off without a hitch and was wary of him. Why are Sona and Tsubaki wary of Issei? That's because Drake was on top of his head. They didn't know what could set off the dragon. Riser and his peerage were teleported to their corner in school, which happened to be the principal's office, when the stage of the rating game was set. Rias was teleported to the Orc room with her peerage. The room is an exact replica of the original Orc room, so you'd think the teleportation failed, but it didn't. Everyone, the announcer said. I am Grafia Lucifuge. I have been appointed judge between the Gremory and the Phoenix family. For the battlefield, I took the suggestion of Rias and Riser and prepared a replica of Kuo Academy, the educational facility that Rias attends in the human realm. Rias' main base is the Orc room in the old schoolhouse. Riser's main base is the principal's office in the new schoolhouse. Grafia explained everything clearly. Meaning, pawns can be promoted when they manage to invade the enemy's schoolhouse. Rias then presented a red glowing spherical to her team. She instructed them to wear it on their ear since it's a communicator. Rias then began to tell them about her plan. As the rating game began, everyone went to their assigned positions according to Rias' plan. Issei watched as Kaneko snuck into the gymnasium. She had to face Shulin, Ilanel and Mira from there. 1 rook and 3 pawns. Kaneko decided to face all the pieces in the gym, which wasn't as hard for her now as it would have been before her training, as Shulin is quite the rook. Shulin is a close combat fighter like Kaneko, but the difference in experience was sky high. Or it would have been if it wasn't for Issei's training. Kaneko didn't waste any time and used Boop Up, a movement technique that allows one to appear behind, next to, above, etc. to their opponent instantaneously. Kaneko used this technique to get in front of Shulin instantly and connected it with a rang, an elbow smash performed on the opponent that sends a shockwave through them. This technique was so powerful that it rattled the entire body of Shulin and she vomited blood. She was eliminated. When Isle, Nell and Mira saw how Kaneko could take out Shulin, they immediately acted. Isle and Nell approached Kaneko together, but Kaneko was able to separate them with a single kick each. The twin was sent flying in 2 different directions. When Nell was able to get up, she used her chainsaw and attacked Kaneko, but it was pointless as Kaneko used Ho Grab, a kick used to grab an opponent in a lock position. The fighter feints a reverse kick with one leg and uses that leg to hold the arm of the opponent. It is mainly used to break an enemy's guard. It can be connected with other techniques, such as spinning top kick, which Kaneko did, a technique performed by spinning 180 degrees and kicking the opponent in the face, followed by another kick with the other leg. This was enough to eliminate Nell from the battlefield. Isle then got up from her stupor when she was pushed back by Kaneko earlier. Seeing her sister get eliminated made her angry. She ran towards Kaneko without a single plan. She revved her chainsaw to the max, but it was pointless as Kaneko used Boop Up to get behind her and use Fang on her back, smashing her to the ground. Fang is a technique performed by attacking with both elbows in a downward direction. Isle was eliminated. Finally, Kaneko only had one opponent left, Mira. Kaneko wasted enough time against the others. So, she no longer wanted to hold back. Kaneko used Boop Up one last time for today to get in front of Mira, and she connected it with Baekdu, a knee attack delivered to the opponent, causing them to fly at a considerable distance. Mira shot back like an arrow, and she smashed into the gymnasium wall, eliminating her. Issei, who was in the broadcasting room, smiled at how amazing Kaneko had become. However, he knew she could be better by accessing her latent Yokai powers, but it would take time before he could help Kaneko through whatever was making her suppress her Yokai half. Her development is tremendous, Sona said. She was shocked at how strong Kaneko was. Sona looked at Issei and she saw him smiling, feeling proud of Kaneko. You were the one that taught her those techniques, weren't you? That's right, Issei said. He looked at Sona and he saw how she was intrigued by him. Why do you ask? You aren't planning to employ me to train your peerage, are you? No, but you are quite the mystery, Hyoudou Issei, Sona said. Issei was strange, but not in a bad way. Everything around him is just so different. From what she gathered from Rias, Issei treats the infinite dragon god like a little girl without said dragon killing him. Everything around you is mysterious. Heavenly dragon, infinite dragon god, you being a half-dragon even though both your parents are human. None of you make sense, but that's what is attractive about you. Sona's eyes twitched. Did she just really say that? She called Issei attractive. Sure, he's handsome, sweet, strong, and caring, at least from what her investigation told her, but to be attracted to him? Well, that's new for her. Ahem. I meant intriguing, Sona said. For the first time, Issei saw the Stoic Student Council president blush. I meant to say that you're quite intriguing as an individual. You're strong, but you aren't like the others. You don't desire to show off your power or use it for nefarious reasons. Well, thanks for the compliment, Sona, Issei said. He was smiling at the sight of the blushing student council president. If he wasn't with Rainer, he might have considered her a prospective girlfriend if she liked him back. Anyways, we should continue watching the rating game. In the forest near the track and field, Kiba was fighting against Buland, Marion and Sharia. He beat them with his speed and the mist obscuring the 3 pawns' vision. Kiba beat his opponent with ease, but that's not his real opponent. As of now, they were waiting till Riser came out of his nest. While waiting, new opponents of Kiba has appeared. Carloman and Cirrus, both of which are Riser's knights. Carloman was a wielder of a sword and a dagger. As for Cirrus, she was a wielder of a Zweihander. Kiba engaged them. Unlike before, Kiba was not only a speed-type fighter with his sword, but also a technique-based fighter. Carloman and Cirrus engaged Kiba, but no matter how they slashed and thrust their weapon at him, Kiba would always be a step ahead and block, dodge or parry their attacks. With one of Kiba's new techniques from Issei, he slashed Carloman and Cirrus 9 consecutive times, which overlaps each other. This was 9 lives style. Kiba targeted and slashed Carloman and Cirrus's upper arm, collarbone, windpipe, temple, diaphragm, rib, chest, pelvis, and thighs simultaneously at tremendous speed, faster than the speed of sound. There was no doubt that this technique eliminated them. Not far from Kiba was Akeno going against Riser's queen, Ubaluna. Akeno was smirking at her opposition as they were shocked at what they saw. Ubaluna blasted Akeno, but the moment the cloud of dust was gone, they all saw Akeno unharmed. Once more, Ubaluna blasted Akeno, but they all saw it this time. The Keno was injured, but they saw flames emerge from her injuries and it was healed instantaneously. I do not appreciate anyone blasting me, Akeno said. Her sadist nature was surfacing. She was giggling at her thoughts of bringing pain to her enemies. Let me show you how to bring pain to your enemy. Akeno summoned her lightning. But this isn't just any lightning. This was Descent of the Lightning Dragon, a magic spell she learned from Issei. Plus, she combined it with her holy powers, courtesy of her fallen angel blood and a little training from Rainer. The lightning dragon descended from the sky and slammed into Hyoudou. However, it did not eliminate her. Instead, Akeno used the holy energy of the attack to make Hyoudou suffer. Hyoudou tried to escape the power of Akeno, but she was not strong enough to resist it. Eventually, she was eliminated without having the ability to retaliate or even use the Phoenix Tears with her. Isabella, one of Riser's rooks, saw that Akeno was a magic user. She thought that if she got close to her, she would be able to defeat her. With her strength as a rook, she felt that she would be able to overpower Akeno physically. Oh, how wrong she was. The moment Isabella got close to Akeno, she felt power emit from Akeno. That's because Akeno used super strength of the white tiger. She punched Isabella in the chest and sent her flying and smashing into multiple trees, eliminating her. Riser was shocked at the announcement that he heard from Graphia. All of those that were eliminated at the same time. Shulin, Nell, Isle, Mira, Bulant, Marion, Sharia, Carloman, Cirrus, Hyoudou, and Isabella were eliminated simultaneously. When Riser got out of his nest, in front of him was Rias, who had her hands folded under her chest. Without warning, she used her power of destruction to eliminate Nai, Lee, and Mihi, who were standing beside Riser. Riser was pissed. This wasn't the outcome he hoped for, and Ravel, his sister and Bishop, wasn't doing anything. Give it up, Riser, Rias said. She hoped for Riser to forfeit rather than be defeated, as she didn't want his reputation ruined. Her family and the Phoenix were still allies after all. You should forfeit rather than lose the rating game. You can still save your reputation by telling everyone that you allowed me to win. HMPH. You think because you eliminated most of my peerage members that you've already won? Riser said. He was seriously pissed. I'm sorry to say, but I'm still an immortal. You have no way of beating me. Is that so? Rias said. She sighed at Riser's stupidity. Well then, you've made your choice. As Rias moved away from the spot she was standing on, Kiba appeared. Riser seemed insulted when he saw that Rias was making her knight fight him rather than herself. You insult me, Rias, Riser said with anger. Do you think that a low-class devil like him is enough to beat me? We'll never find out unless he tries, Rias said. She then looked at Riser with pity. You'll regret fighting him. Riser fed at Rias and attacked Kiba with his flames. With Kiba's sword, he slashed and stabbed at Riser, but to no avail. Why would he do this? Simple, he wants Riser to think that he was winning. After a minute of fighting Kiba, Riser became arrogant as he saw that nothing done to him would stick as he would quickly regenerate. This was what Kiba was waiting for, an opportunity to end Riser. Kiba slashed at Riser's chest. But rather than continue fighting, he stopped and stood on his spot. Ah ha ha ha. I told you that you can't beat me, Rias. Riser said. He was laughing maniacally. There is nothing you can do to stop our engagement. Not. Kiba smirked as it finally affected Riser. Unlike Issei, he hasn't mastered the technique he used. So, it took a while to take effect. But the result spoke for itself. Riser was turning into stone. What have you done to me? Riser shouted. For the first time in his life, he was scared. What have you done? Riser completely turned into a stone. What Kiba used against him was the demon sealing strike. A sword technique that creates a demon sealing aura to seal those struck by it. Everyone watching the broadcasting of Ria's rating game was shocked. No one has ever seen someone deal with a phoenix like Kiba did. They didn't know it was possible. Yet, here it is, a low-class devil turning Riser into stone. Suffice it to say, Rias won the rating game. The week after the rating game, Issei's life has gone back to normal. Well, normal for him and his family. At the moment, Issei was waiting for Asia to get changed to her school uniform as it would be her first day at school. But Asia was so nervous that she struggled to change into her uniform. So, Rainer helped her calm down and change to her uniform. After a while, Asia went out of the house and saw Issei waiting for her. Issei patted the back seating area of VMAX, and Asia got on. This would also be the first time Asia got to ride on VMAX. When they got going, Asia held Issei tightly as she was afraid of falling off. Issei even had to drive slowly as he wasn't to scare Asia more than she already was. When they arrived at Kuo, people were looking at Issei and Asia. This is an everyday occurrence for Issei, but not for Asia. Sure, Asia would get attention back in the church, but they were there for healing, not for any other reason. Since it was Asia's first day at school, Issei didn't know which class she would be assigned. So, he sent her to the teacher's office to get her timetable and introduce her to her classroom. Inside Issei's classroom, the teacher entered and asked everyone to sit down and be quiet. The teacher then told everyone that they had a new student joining them. The guys were excited and hoped it was a girl. As for the girls, they were hoping for handsome men like Kiba and Issei. When Asia heard the teacher tell her to enter, she did. This excited all the guys as a girl was joining their class. "My name is Asia Argento," Asia said. She bowed her head as she introduced herself. "I'm sure there is a lot I'm unfamiliar with, but I offer my regards." All the boys roared in excitement. "She's a blonde beauty," Mitsuda shouted. "Bust 82 centimeters, waist 55 centimeters, hips 81 centimeters. Good," Motohama announced to everyone. "I'm currently leaving at the Hyoudou Issei's home," Asia said. She was smiling the whole time as she finally got to be like a normal person. "So, if you need anything from me when I'm not around, you can contact Issei and he would be able to relay it to me." "What?" All the boys shouted and stared at Issei with evil eyes. On the other hand, Issei just yawned at their intimidating look as he saw them as nothing more than a puppy, a very ugly puppy. Motohama then spoke. "What's going on? How are you and that blonde beauty living under the same roof? How is it you've been triggering all the right flags?" Mitsuda said. He then looked at Issei with tears. "First, you get to spend time with the orc members such as Akeno and Kaneko. Now, you have a blonde beauty living in your house. Is she your girlfriend?" I'm not Issei's girlfriend," Asia said. She was blushing when Mitsuda mistook her for Issei's girlfriend. "Issei's girlfriend is Rainer. She lives with us in his house." "How? You already have a girlfriend and you've never introduced us," Motohama said. Issei had one of his eyebrows raised. "Right, good call. Still. You get to enjoy your girlfriend every day while we do it with Mr. Right Hand." Upon hearing Motohama say Issei enjoyed his time with his girlfriend, Asia blushed so hard that she nearly fainted. Once more, she was reminded of the night she heard Issei and Rainer doing it and imagined her in Rainer's place. While Issei was dealing with the pesky guys in class, Asia was having fun conversing with the other girls in class. Aika even approached her. Issei facepalmed as she heard Aika ask Asia if she ever saw Issei's junk. Asia hasn't, but she has tried imagining it once or twice, well, countless times. "Asia, your hair is so pretty," Kata said. "I'm quite jealous of it." "Yeah, and the guys in class are enchanted by it, too," Aika said. She was in a teasing mood. So, she had Asia as a target. "So, Asia, have you ever seen Issei naked?" All the girls around Asia who heard Aika's question had their ears propped up to hear Asia's response. "I'm not completely naked," Asia said. She saw Issei get out of the shower with only a towel around his lower half. But it was by accident. "I didn't know he just finished showering." "So, tell us the details," Murayama said. She fancied Issei for a while now, but she never got the courage to act upon it. But now it was too late as he already had a girlfriend. However, that doesn't mean she isn't interested in him anymore. "What's his body like? Are his abs as toned as I think it is? Or does he have a bit of a belly but doesn't show when he's dressed?" He's very toned," Asia said. She was blushing hard at the memory of seeing Issei half naked. "I remember his abs looked sculpted. I wanted to touch it when I saw it." "Ooh," Aika said. She has a smirk on her face. "It's too bad you've never seen Issei fully naked. I wanted to ask you if you know what his junk looked like. My size scouter isn't giving me feedback when I look at it." "Size scouter?" Asia asked. She's never heard of it before. "What's that?" "It's my special ability to see men's sizes," Aika said. She was proud of her size scouter. "However, whenever I use it on Issei, it never works. Not in the sense that it gives me the wrong size, but it never gives me any response. It's infuriating to know that my size scouter doesn't work on someone." "Sorry, I couldn't help," Asia said. She liked helping people. So, when she couldn't help Aika, she felt terrible. "I'll try and see if I can find out for you." "No. Don't do that," Catus shouted. She couldn't believe what Asia was saying. "That's illegal. Don't go peeping on someone. I don't want you to become like the perverted duo." At the end of the day, Asia was going around to different clubs to have a look and see if she was willing to join any of them. While that was happening, Issei headed to the orc to kill some time. You see, Issei's employment with Rias was over. The training of Kiba and Akeno was only to last for a month. That's already passed. However, Rias said that he was welcome to come to the orc at any time. So, now that he needed to kill some time until Asia was done surveying the clubs, he headed to the orc. When he got there, Rias and her peerage were discussing the number of contracts they could fulfill. "This month's contract numbers are Akeno 11, Kaneko 10, and Kiba 8, Rias said. She was proud of her peerage, being able to complete high numbers of contracts. "Well done, all of you. Please, continue working hard. Too bad I wasn't in the double digit like Akeno and Kaneko," Kiba said. he sighed. I would have gotten 10 if it wasn't for two weird requests. One wanted me to summon a Cthulhu-like creature. The other wanted me to turn him into a magical girl. Huh? Hold on, Issei said. That sounded familiar to him. Is the person that summoned you to turn them into a magical girl named Miltan? Or at least go by that name? Yeah, Kiba answered. How did you know? Because I know him, Issei said. He sighed. Miltan was a mutual friend of his in Serafall. Serafall and I are friends with him. We met him at a magical girl convention. Which reminds me, I have plans for this Saturday, a convention would be in town, and Serafall invited me. Leviathan Sama has invited you? Akeno said. She then remembered that Issei had told everyone that he was in contact with Serafall. Oh, my. Is it a date? That's quite scandalous, knowing that you already have a girlfriend. Though, I don't mind being your mistress as well. It's not a date. We're just spending time together, Issei said. He then rolled his eyes at Akeno. We're just going to go around having fun, taking pictures, getting lunch. All in all, spend a day of being together. This is totally a date, isn't it? From what you described. Yeah, it is, Rias said. This was the first time she had seen Issei act like this. She found it cute. Maybe you weren't told that she has invited other friends as well. No, Sarah said that it would be for just the two of us, Issei said. He sighed. How could he not realize it sooner? I will have to tell her that I already have a girlfriend. You know, it's not uncommon for a person as powerful as you to have multiple spouses, Rias said. She then took a sip of her tea, made by Akeno. Especially since you're a male half-dragon. Believe me, you'll be attracting many women. Maybe, you've even attracted quite a few in recent years or recent months. Oh, he's certainly attracted me, Akeno said. She then gave a giggle in Issei's direction. She licked her lips. Like I said, I don't mind being your mistress, Issei. Issei rolled his eyes at her. He didn't believe Akeno was actually interested in him. To Issei, Akeno was just being playful. Oh, how wrong he was. Ever since she spent time with Issei, her affection for him grew. Sure, Akeno's affection all started because he was the boy that tried to help her years ago, but recently, her feelings for him have grown deeper the more she got to know him. And that was significantly amplified when he brought Shuri back to life. Let him go? Not a chance. She would fight tooth and nail to be with him. Besides, she and Rainer spoke about it when they were training together. Elsewhere, two church representatives were lurking around the old, abandoned church that Rainer and her cohorts used to occupy. This place is in ruins, the first person said. Are you sure we're in the right place? I heard there was a disturbance here recently caused by the fallen angels, the second person said. The person looked around the dusty and moldy church. Probably a falling out. It's getting late, the first person said. Taking off the hood, we see that it was a girl. Are you sure we're supposed to be meeting here? There's no way I'd be wrong, the second person said. Taking off the hood as well, we see it was another girl. I spent time here with my parent as a child. The second person then showed a picture of her with another child. It was Issei. This was the childhood friend of Issei, Hyoudou Arena. And the person with her was Zenobia Quarta. Not far from the church duo were Middleton Kalawarna. They returned to Kuo town searching for Azazel as they were tasked to find him by Shemhazai. At the same time, they were to locate Kakabiel and inform them of his objective in Kuo. The following morning, as Sona and her queen headed to school, they met Arena and Zenobia, the church duo. Sona didn't know the purpose of the church representatives, but she felt it wouldn't be a simple matter since they were carrying a holy sword. After school, Issei was preparing to head home with Asia, but he was called in by Sona Citri. Issei didn't know what it was about, but he didn't mind helping out. He found an empty classroom nearby and used his portal to send Asia home for the day. Issei then made his way to the stucco room. There he was met with Sona, who was waiting for him patiently. She asked Issei to take a seat and Tsubaki poured tea for him to drink. So? What is it you need me for? Issei asked. He knows that Sona is the type of person that would take care of any problem heading her way. If you're asking for my help, it couldn't be a simple matter. That's right, it's not, Sona said. She sighed at the situation at hand. This morning, two people from the church contacted me. They told me that they wanted to speak to Rias. I don't know what they wanted, but I accepted their request. I need someone to mediate the meeting to ensure that a bloodbath doesn't happen. I know no one other than you to do so. When is this taking place? Issei asked. He didn't mind helping, but he would have to decline if it was on a Saturday. I can accept any time, but this Saturday. That's not a problem since the talk should be tomorrow, Sona said. She then leaned onto her table with her elbow and chin on her hand. I'm hoping nothing bad comes about in the conversation with Rias and the church representative. No problem, I can do so tomorrow, Issei said. He had no plans until Saturday. So, this is a great opportunity to kill time. I'll be there. Is there something else you need from me? It's my sister. She told me she would be in town, Sona said. She sighed. Her sister could be a troublemaker. I was hoping you could maybe show her around. She'll be here on Friday. Oh, you don't have to worry about Sarah, Issei said. He did have plans with her on Saturday. The plans I had for Saturday was with her. We're heading to a magical girl convention. Issei felt a demonic power in the vents of the stucco room. This demonic signature was something he was all too familiar with. Issei smiled and was planning on fulfilling a promise long ago. I don't get it, Sona said. She was confused about Issei's personality. You're this smart and powerful guy, but you're interested in magical girls. It doesn't make sense. Hey. Don't go dissing magical girls. Besides, can't a guy have some guilty pleasure? Issei said. He then thought of something. Sona would look good in a magical girl outfit. By the way, you look good in the magical girl outfit you're wearing. Sona looked confused at what Issei said. She wasn't wearing a magical girl outfit. But the moment she looked at her outfit, she was indeed wearing a magical girl outfit. Sona blushed hard. She was about to scold Issei, but he was gone. Hyoudou Issei. Sona shouted. She was so embarrassed for wearing a magical girl outfit in front of her peerage members. I'll pay you back for this. If Sona wasn't shouting, she would have heard camera clicks in the ventilation system. However, all Sona and the rest of her peerage heard was Issei's laughter. Then suddenly, a rune around Sona appeared. She didn't know what it was, but she knew it was Issei's doing. Sona asked her peerage to leave the room for a moment as she had to change her clothes. While changing, she admired the magical girl outfit's elegant look. But she didn't want to be seen wearing it, no matter how much it enhanced her natural beauty. She took it off and put on a new pair of school uniforms. Only for it to transform into another magical girl outfit. She screamed. I've never heard Sona Kaichu scream like this before, Rias said. She was afraid to enter the stucco room. She sounds ready to kill. It seems like Hyoudou Issei has the talent for bringing out the other side of a person, Tsubaki said. She was a bit regretful that she could never bring this side of Sona out. Although Sona might look angry, Tsubaki knew Sona wasn't. She knew that Sona might even be admiring herself in the mirror as she spoke to Ria. It's quite refreshing to see her like this. Really, I think it's scary. Ria said. She didn't want to come anywhere near Sona with the way she was at the moment. She sounded like a banshee earlier. Sona then opened the stucco room door. Everyone saw that she was wearing a different type of magical girl outfit. If the outfit made her look elegant and gorgeous earlier, this new one made her look like a seductress. Saji saw Sona and he fainted. Where is he? Sona said. She was going to kill Issei. I'm going to make him pay. No matter how many times I change, it turns into a magical girl outfit. They had no answer to Sona's question as they didn't know where Issei had gone. As for Issei, he was with Serafall, who arrived early and took pictures of Sona, who had a different magical girl outfit. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Serafall said. She hugged Issei. This was like a dream come true to her as Sona didn't like wearing a magical girl outfit. Now I have hundreds of photos with Sona in a cute, sexy, alluring magical girl outfit. You're welcome, Issei said. He felt that Serafall was around earlier, but he also realized that she was hiding from Sona. Well, I did tell you before that if I had the chance, I would let you see your sister in a magical girl outfit. And you did as you promised, Serafall said. She then kissed him on the lips. This shocked Issei. That's just a little reward. About that, Issei said. He didn't know how to tell her that he already had a girlfriend. But he thought it would be best to be straightforward. I have to tell you, I already have a girlfriend. What? When did this happen? Serafall asked. She hoped to someday invite Issei into her peerage, but she found out just how strong he was and she was incapable of turning him. So, she thought maybe she could be with him not as his master, but as his girlfriend. But now, he had a girlfriend. Unacceptable. Who is it? I will not stand for this. Sarah, calm down, Issei said. The only to calm down an enraged Serafall was to hug her and make her forget what made her angry in the first place. Or have Sona act cute in a magical girl outfit. Please calm down. Serafall hated that Issei was capable of easily calming her down. She hugged him back and she started sniffing him. This was something she does occasionally when she's around Issei. How Issei didn't know she was being affectionate is a mystery. Okay, I'm calm. I won't kill her, Serafall said as she gritted her teeth. She then took a deep breath to remain calm. Now, can you tell me who this hussy is? I don't know if I should, Issei said. She was only teasing Serafall. You seem to still be out for blood. Wah. I am not. Serafall said. She turned around, crossed her arms on her chest and pouted. I just want to talk to this person to ensure that she's not taking advantage of you. If you want to meet her, she lives at my house, Issei said. Serafall looked envious. She wanted to live with Issei before, but she couldn't since she was a Satan. Serafall had responsibilities. But you have to promise me that you won't attack her. I won't. I know that if I did, you'd hate me. I don't want that, Serafall said. She wasn't going to do anything that would make Issei hate her. She had already lost him as a potential boyfriend. She wasn't going to lose him as a friend. Although, it's not uncommon for strong people to have multiple spouses. I promise I'll just speak with her. I just want to ask a few questions. Issei smiled at her, and he brought her home. This wasn't the first time Issei had brought Serafall to his house. Mickey and Goro know about her being a devil. Though Serafall was Serafall, Issei's parents couldn't see her as a devil. Serafall was so cute and playful to be a devil, but they knew Issei wouldn't lie about it. On the way home, Issei and Serafall were admiring all the pictures of Sona in a magical girl outfit. Sona, she seemed so natural in a magical girl outfit. It's such a shame that she refuses to wear it on her own. Sona has a certain je ne sais quoi about her. When they arrived at Issei's house, Serafall was excited to meet Mickey and Goro. She found them fun to be around. But once they entered, they saw that there were other guests around. 4, to be exact. Issei went to the living room and he saw 4 people, 2 of which were in cloaks, but the other 2 he was familiar with. Kalwarna and Middled, who happens to be playing with a toy dragon on her lap. Kalwarna, Middled. What are you girls doing here? Issei asked. Of course, he knew they were friends with Rainer, but they don't seem to be here only for a visit. And he also couldn't believe they were playing drag. Rainer told me that you headed back to Grigori. We did. But Shemhazai had asked us to come here to Kuo to search for Azazel and Kakabiel, since we're familiar with the town, Kalwarna said. She sighed. Azazel was being his spontaneous self once again. Our objective is to look for Azazel and ask him to return to the Grigori. And our second objective is to search for Kakabiel and report what he's up to. Shemhazai has told us that he has defected from Grigori and is planning something. However, he wasn't sure what it was. That's not good, Issei said. He saw Rainer sitting beside her friends with a look of apprehension. So, he decided to ease her anxiety. Hey, don't worry, I'll make sure he doesn't hurt you again. Besides, you're stronger than before. I know, but that's not what I'm worried about, Rainer said. She knew that Kakabiel didn't care about anyone. I'm afraid Kakabiel would do something drastic to get what he wants. What he wants? Issei said. From the sound of it, Rainer might have an inkling of what Kakabiel is up to. Rainer, do you know what Kakabiel is up to? I know a bit, Rainer said. Kakabiel has always been angry at Azazel for entering a truce with the other 2 factions. He believes Fallen Angel could have won the Great War. I think he plans to restart the war. That's insane. Serafall said. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Is Kakabiel insane? Like devils, fallen angels have one of the lowest numbers and haven't grown them in a long time. However, devils have the reincarnation system using the devil pieces, but fallen angels don't have them and rely on natural birth. Is he planning to end the fallen angel race? Exactly. Azazel and Shemhazai knew that it would be suicide if the war restarted, Rainer said. She was glad that the leaders had no intention of restarting the war. In fact, Azazel no longer desires war. He's more into researching sacred gear now. Hold on, Issei said. He then looked at Kalwarna and Middled. You said that Azazel was here. What is he doing here? He felt the power of the Red Dragon Emperor awaken or something, Kalwarna said. As with the White Dragon Emperor, Azazel is interested in the Red Dragon Emperor. He wants to meet the wielder of the boosted gear. Well, damn. Issei didn't know how to tell Kalwarna and Middle that there was no longer a boosted gear because he had already resurrected Drag and they were playing with him. About that, Issei said. He looked at Drag, who was in the lap of Middled. Issei then looked at Rainer, who saw the Drag being pet by Middled. She was about to burst into laughter. There is no longer a boosted gear wielder because Drag is on your lap, Middled. Ha! Middled said. She then looked at her lap and the toy moved. Drag flew out of her lap and perched on Issei's shoulder. I was playing with one of the heavenly dragons. Serafall wasn't as surprised as the others that the toy dragon wasn't a toy. She felt the power radiating from it when she saw him. But she was still surprised. What the hell happened while she wasn't around? Serafall didn't remember Drake being around back then. Ah ha ha. Issei laughed. The reaction of Middled was hilarious. You should have seen the look on your faces. Oh. I see. It was a joke, Middled said. She then sighed a breath of relief. You had me there for a second. It's not a joke, Issei said. He then gestured to Drag. This is Drag, the heavenly dragon of domination. Ah ha ha ha. You should be glad I let you pet me, Drag said. He doesn't allow anyone to pet him except for Issei and his family, but he is inside the Hyoudou residence. If he was to cause chaos, he would be punished, and he didn't want that. You should be glad we were inside this house. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so lucky. Drake then let out his dragon aura and the 4 guests were afraid. Right. Issei looked at the other 2 guests and forgot that they were there. Who are you two? Issei said. He then looked at the girl with chestnut-colored hair. She looked familiar. You look familiar. Do you not remember her, Issei? Mickey asked. She wasn't sure why Issei would not recognize his childhood friends. They were as thick as thieves back in the day. She then took out an old picture. See? She's right there. Hyoudou Arena. Issei took a look at the picture and he was surprised. Hyoudou? He then looked at the girl and picture back and forth. You're Hyoudou, Issei said. Hyoudou was a girl. He always thought that she was a guy. Holy crap. You're a girl. I always thought you were a guy. Ah ha ha. It can't be helped. I was a bit of a tomboy back then, Irina said. She then made a cutesy smack of her head. But it seems a lot has happened to the both of us in the time we've spent apart. You really never know what will happen when you're reunited. Irina stared at Kalawarna, Middled, Rainer, Serafall, and Drake. She might be smiling on the outside, but on the inside, she was a bit afraid of Drake. Irina wasn't sure if the dragon was really the red dragon of domination, but that doesn't matter, since it's still a freaking dragon. As for Serafall, she didn't know who she was. Oh. By the way, Sarah-chan, it's good to see you again, Mickey said. It had been a while since she had been over. Mickey knew that Serafall had responsibilities. You should come by more often. Oh, I plan to. Serafall said. She then looked at the room and saw Rainer. A gut feeling told her that she was the one she needed to speak with. But for now, I have to speak with her. Serafall pointed at Rainer. Said Fallen Angel was curious. What does a devil with immense power want with her? However, she didn't mind speaking to Serafall since Issei was around. She was sure that he wouldn't let anything happen to her. Me? Why? Rainer said. She was curious. I don't think I've ever met you before. You haven't, but I still need to speak to you, Serafall said. She wanted to know if this girl was good enough for her Issei or if she was willing to share. I have a few questions that need answering. Serafall dragged Rainer into another room. Meanwhile, Issei was looking at Irina and the girl he was with. Until he had his eyes on the item wrapped in a cloth. He used both up and took the item. Irina and Zenobia recoiled at what they saw. The sword of Zenobia was quickly stolen. Issei then unwrapped the cloth and saw a sword. It was emitting a holy aura. From that, Issei can deduce that Irina and Zenobia were the church representative and were the duo that wanted to speak to Rias. He then put his hand on the sword's handle and it hummed to life. Irina and Zenobia were confused. Issei could wield one of the Excalibur fragments. Issei. You can wield a holy sword, Irina said. She was shocked. Issei was a natural-born holy sword wielder. Amazing. Impossible. Zenobia said. She was the wielder of Excalibur Destruction, the sword in Issei's hand, but it was emitting more power with him than it was with her. How? How is this possible? Zenobia. Irina said. She was surprised that Zenobia was rattled at what she saw. Sure, Irina was surprised that Issei could use the holy sword, but not to the extent of Zenobia. What's got you so rattled? Excalibur Destruction is my holy sword. I know its ins and outs, Zenobia said. She still couldn't believe the amount of power the sword was producing in Issei's hands. But the amount of power that Excalibur Destruction is emitting now is nowhere near what it does with me. Well, duh. Irina said. She knew that output would be different. Of course, it would be weaker in his hands. This is the first time he's held it. Weaker? I wouldn't be this surprised if it was weaker, Zenobia said. Sometimes, Irina could be dense. The power Excalibur Destruction is producing is 5 times more power with him than it is with me. Eh? Irina was shocked. 5 times more power. What? See? Now you get it. Zenobia said. She then looked at Issei, who wasn't even impressed with the power. In fact, she saw that he was disappointed. Why do you look so disappointed? I've heard of stories of this holy sword from Serafall and Drake, Issei said. He then sighed. The power of the sword was disappointing. All the stories they told me, I thought it would be far more powerful than this. But I guess I was wrong. This holy sword isn't even on par with my Balming. Issei then bought out his Balming. A wave of aura hit Irina and Zenobia. The amount of power that Balming was emitting was immense. Between Excalibur Destruction and Balming, the latter was far more potent without competition. Irina and Zenobia looked at the sword that Issei brought out. They felt that their weapons were definitely inferior. This feeling was more for Zenobia, as her swords were far weaker than Issei's Balming. Drake, who was in the room, became afraid of the sword. Why? Because this was the sword Issei used to beat him up. If Issei didn't have healing magic, he would be nothing more than dirt on the ground, unmoving. Why? Because Issei cut up his arms, legs, and wings during their fight. Drake made his way out of the room as he didn't want to be in the vicinity of Balming. Issei, on the other hand, thought of something interesting. Knight of Honor. If he was to activate it, it would catapult Excalibur Destruction's power from its initial rank to a D rank. Assuming it wasn't considered a D rank in the Fate system. Issei activated his Knight of Honor, and it worked. The power of Excalibur Destruction grew, doubling its previous power. That would mean that Excalibur Destruction was only considered an E rank in the Fate system, as it had a value of 10. And with Knight of Honor, it was raised to D rank with a value of 20. How did you make it stronger? Zenobia said. Whatever the red and green light that was enveloping Excalibur Destruction, it strengthened it. And what's with that light? Issei ignored her. Though, he got to thinking. Zenobia said earlier that Excalibur Destruction was a lot weaker in her hands. That would mean it was less than an E rank earlier. He sighed. Truly a disappointing weapon. Issei then tossed the sword back to Zenobia. He was capable of forging weapons with a rarity of mythical grade with the Gacha System's grading system. Excalibur Destruction doesn't even come close to his standards. The following morning, Sona was going around the school in her magical girl outfit. She tried so hard to dispel Issei's runes, but nothing she did work. Sona was trying to get to the stucco room without being spotted. Whenever Sona was seen by a student, she would grab them on the shoulder and scare the shit out of them before wiping their memory. It wasn't right to scare the people, but it was the only way she could vent. For the entire day, Sona did not leave the stucco room. One thing Sona didn't realize is that she was starting to take a liking to the magical girl outfit. Was she embarrassed to wear it in public? Sure, she didn't mind wearing them in a private place, like her home. After school, Issei was heading to the Orc, where the meeting between Rias and the church duo would occur. Since Drake got out of the dimensional farm, he would always be perched on Issei's head. When Issei arrived in the Orc, the church duo was still not around. That's a good thing since he didn't want them to start their conversation while he wasn't there, and a fight broke out. It took another few minutes before Irina and Zenobia arrived. Now that all parties have arrived, the talk could start. I'm Irina Hyoudou, Irina said. She then gestured to Zenobia. This is my partner, Zenobia Quarta. I wonder why the followers of God would want to meet with a devil. Rias said. She had her hands and legs crossed. This is quite unusual. Recently, the holy swords Excaliburs kept by the Catholic Church headquarter Vatican, Protestant Church, and Eastern Orthodox Church was stolen, Irina said. She was explaining things as calmly as possible. Of the 6 Excalibur fragments with known whereabouts, the church still has 3 of them, but the other 3 were stolen by fallen angels. Stolen? Rias said. She doesn't care for the sword since it is harmful to her people. What does that have to do with us? The ones we have are from the ones that are left, Zenobia said. She was holding on to the sword that Issei took last night. The holy sword of destruction, Excalibur Destruction. And the one that I have here, Irina said. She showed them a wrap around her arm. The holy sword of mimicry, Excalibur Mimic. You didn't answer my question. So, I'll ask again, Rias said. She looked at both Irina and Zenobia with a stern look. What does that have to do with us? The problem is between fallen angels and us, Zenobia said. She didn't like devils. Just as you were saying, this has nothing to do with you. We don't need the devils in this town to intervene. So, stay away and let us do our job. Issei felt that someone was angry. It was Kiba. He was glaring at the Excaliburs and the 2 women with a scary face that Issei had never seen before on him. This is perfect. I've waited a long time for this, Kiba said. He was glaring at Zenobia and Irina. Finally, I get to enact my revenge on the holy swords that took away the life of the people I cared about. Who the hell are you? Zenobia said. She looked at Kiba and didn't recognize him. I don't think we've ever met. I'm your senior, Kiba said. He had a look of disdain on his face. My friends and I are why you all can't wield holy swords. For a long time, I've waited for a day like this to happen. A day I can enact my revenge over the holy swords. Issei saw that Kiba was approaching Zenobia and Irina. Sit down. Kiba, Issei said. He didn't care for the so-called revenge of Kiba on the holy sword. It's ridiculous. Why hate a tool? It has done nothing wrong. Instead, he should hate the person who harmed his friends. Or I'll make you. No. Kiba shouted. He has waited for so long. I finally have a chance to destroy those wretched swords. I will not let it slip by me. I said sit your ass down. Issei shouted. Draconic aura erupted from him and onto Kiba, who was slammed to the ground. It was strong enough to cause the ground to crack. I warned you. I'm the mediator of this meeting. Any hostility towards either party will be dealt with. You know, it's funny how you showed hostility towards us, but not him, Zenobia said. She pointed at Issei. He is also a wielder of a holy sword. Kiba was shocked. Issei was a wielder of a holy sword. Really? Which one was a holy sword? He didn't remember any of the swords wielded by Issei as a holy sword. There was a lightning sword named Lightning Edge, there was a fire sword named Flame Emperor, but neither were holy swords. Issei sighed, and he took out Baoming. Immediately, Rias and her peerage felt the power of the sword. But unlike the Excalibur fragment, whose power is half-assed, Baoming wasn't. No, Kiba said. His mentor was a wielder of a holy sword. How? I don't understand your anger towards the holy swords. They are nothing more than mere tools, Issei said. Zenobia and Irina looked offended by his words. Mere sword. Excalibur was a testament to what a human can accomplish. If anything, you should be angry at whoever hurt you and your friends. Because guess what? A sword alone is incapable of hurting another person unless wielded by someone else. It doesn't matter. Kiba said. He was trying to get up, but Issei's dragon aura was too powerful for him to resist. One way or another, I will destroy all those holy sword, including yours. Issei stood up from his seat and went towards Kiba, who was on the ground. He placed his hand on Kiba's head and used his magic. What Issei did was trap Kiba in his strongest memory. Hopefully, that memory was on the day of the incident of whatever made him hate the holy swords. On the ground, everyone was watching as Kiba spasm, or at least what looked like a spasm. He seemed to be dreaming of something. Whatever Issei did, Kiba doesn't seem to be waking up from it. Kiba? Issei, what did you do? Rias said. She looked at Kiba and didn't know what to do. What have you done to Kiba? He's fine. Nothing is wrong with him, Issei said. He was nonchalant about the entire thing. I merely trapped him in his own mind. I was hoping that whatever made him hate the holy sword would be his strongest memory. That way, he would be able to resolve his issues with the holy sword. Kiba was in his mind. The day was when all his friends were getting killed. They were blocking the men that were killing them from getting to Kiba. His friends told him to run and live. Not only for himself but also for them. Kiba watched as the friends from long ago died. But one thing is for sure, Kiba saw that his friends didn't want revenge against the sword. They merely wanted him to live. All this time, he was out for revenge, but in truth, his friend saved him so that he could live, not only for himself, but for them too. I was wrong this whole time, Kiba said. He then fell to his knees. I've wasted my time thinking about revenge, that I didn't realize none of that mattered to them. All they wanted for me was to live. Kiba reflected on his action all these years. He was grateful for Rias, but he was out for revenge the whole time. Rias was just a means to get strong enough to enact his revenge. Kiba felt horrible for this. So, he decided that he would genuinely be her sword. The memory he was trapped in seemed to have come alive. You finally understood, one of the kids said. Kiba looked at the kid. This is for the best. We never wanted you to take revenge for us. All we wanted was for you to live when we knew we weren't going to make it, another kid said. Oh, it's time for you to return, another said. But before you leave, we want to give you a gift, a girl said. The sphere was then handed over to Kiba. He didn't know what it was, but he accepted it. What he was given was a trigger. A trigger for his balance breaker. When Kiba woke up, Irina and Zenobia were already gone. Kiba looked at Issei and gave his thanks. Although Kiba no longer had the idea of getting revenge on the swords, he was still planning on taking down the person responsible for the deaths of his friends. When Kiba asked how long he was out, Rias told him it had been 2 days since the meeting with the church duo. This shocked Kiba. He thought it had only been for a few minutes. Inside Issei's house, Zenobia and Irina were having dinner. As it turns out, Irina isn't that great with money. She decided to buy a holy person painting, using all their funds. Issei was watching Irina and Zenobia eat their food. If an outsider was to look at the meat, one would think that they hadn't eaten in days. Rainer, Serafall and Asia were in another room. Asia was looking around and was thinking about why she was pulled in. Okay, tell me. How are we going to do this? Rainer said. She was all for sharing Issei as she didn't want a bloodbath. But the question is, does Issei want a harem? We don't even know if Issei is open to such a relationship. Why don't we just go and ask him? Maybe I can use my seductive body to entice Issei, Serafall said. She was thinking of wearing her best magical girl outfit that looks sexy as heck. I can pull him into a room and tell him how I feel, and then we break into lovemaking. I don't think that'll work, Rainer said. As much as it would work for other men, it won't work with Issei. Rainer has seen how much Issei didn't like cheaters. Can't you just bring him to a room and tell him I'm okaying your relationship with him? He told me he has that weird eye thing that can tell when someone is lying. I doubt he wouldn't believe what you're saying. What am I doing here? Asia said. Though she was curious about the talk, she didn't know why she was brought into the room. Okay, she was lying to herself. I think I'm going to go and have dinner. You're not going anywhere, Rainer said. She then pulled Asia, who was about to leave the room, back to her seat. You can't lie to me, Asia. You say that this talk has nothing to do with you, but that's not true. I've seen how you look at Issei. I know how much you like him. But because I'm his girlfriend, you buried those feelings deep down. Well, I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do that. You're part of the supernatural world. It's not uncommon for someone like Issei to have multiple spouses. I think you're mistaken, Asia said. A liar she is not. Her eyes were darting around. Clearly, she couldn't meet the eyes of the other girls in the room. I'm not. You're a terrible liar, Asia, Rainer said. She sighed. Maybe I should tell you about the time I heard you moan Issei's name in your room. Asia went red. She didn't think that she was being that loud. I wasn't masturbating to Issei. Asia shouted. She was so red that her face looked like it would pop. Asia couldn't say anything. Oh. I never mentioned that you were, Rainer said. She was only teasing Asia. In fact, she never heard anything. I was talking about when Issei gave you a massage. I heard you moan for Issei to continue massaging you for a little longer. Tricked. She was tricked into confessing. Asia was ready to dart out of the room, but she was being held by both Serafall and Rainer. I need to go. Asia said. She struggled in her seat. She couldn't bear the embarrassment. I can't believe I said that. While Asia was being embarrassed, back in the dining room where Zenobia and Irina were eating dinner, Irina asked Issei a question. So, Issei, how long have you known about the supernatural world? Irina said. She was wolfing down the chicken on her plate. And also, who are the girls from the other day? I've known about the supernatural world since I was 10 years old, right after you left, Issei said. This shocked Irina. As for the girls yesterday, Middled, Kalawarna and Rainer are fallen angels. But you already know that. As for Rainer, she's my girlfriend. I met her about a month or two ago. I don't completely remember due to all the incidents happening. As for the blonde girl, I think you might know her. She was part of the church before she was excommunicated. Her name is Asia Argento, my foster sister. Mom even has all the legal documents. As for Serafall, she's pretty famous. She is known as the most powerful female devil. She is Serafall Leviathan. One of the underworlds, Satan. As for the little girl on my lap, this is Office. The infinite dragon god or the Ouroboros dragon god. Irina dropped her spoon when she heard the girl's identity in the Hyoudou residence. As for Zenobia, she nearly choked on her food. She was coughing badly as a piece of meat got stuck in her throat. What the hell? Ouroboros dragon, Satan Leviathan, and dragon of domination. Irina said. She was in disbelief. There were so many powerhouses in a single residence. Why are they all here? Well, for Office, she's here because I gave her cookies on our first meeting. Ever since then, I treated her as just another one of the family. Mom has also taken a liking to her, Issei said. He then took a spoonful of food and fed it to Office. She was sitting on Issei's lap. As for Serafall, I met her during a magical girl convention. We enjoyed each other's company and became friends. A while later, I figured out she was a devil, but I didn't really care. She is a friend. So, what are you, exactly? Zenobia asked bluntly. She knew that the aura of Issei he used against Kiba wasn't human, but it wasn't a devil either. You're not human, are you? Half human, half dragon, Issei said. Irina was confused. Half dragon? How does that happen? It would make sense if one of Issei's parents were a dragon, but neither is. So? How? As if Issei was reading Irina's mind, he answered. Due to certain circumstances, I became a dragon. Though, how I became a dragon is a secret. How come you're close to the devils here in Kuo if your girlfriend is a fallen angel? Zenobia said. It didn't make sense. Devils and fallen angels don't get along. Yet, Issei, whose girlfriend is a fallen angel, mingles with devils. Especially that Satan Leviathan. For one, I have no prejudice towards any race whether that be angel, fallen angels, devils, Valkyrie, gods, Buddha. All have their good and bad bunch, Issei said. He wasn't lying. There are good devils like Serafall and great fallen angels like Rainer, Kalawarna, Middled, and Akeno. Heck. He even knows that angles aren't perfect. I suggest you get to know a person first before judging them. Though, if you approach them and try to kill you, that's an indicator that they're not friendly. I learned that the hard way. Issei was 11 years old back then. He approached a man that had a smile on his face. Issei knew that he was a devil but didn't mind. He looked approachable. So, Issei approached him. Long story short, the devil got away after a fight broke out between them, but at least Issei took his arm. All Issei knew about the devil was that he was a gentle-looking handsome young man with dark green hair and amber eyes. Say, Issei. Where did you get Balming? Irina asked. The sword was different from the one that she saw depicted in books. It wasn't even close. It looks different from the one recorded by the church. Balming was meant to be a long sword with a darkish purple color, which reached up to half the blade nearing towards the upper portion where it is silver. It has a unique crossguard, a light purple part placed onto the crossguard extending up the purple-colored fuller with a slight yellow circle in the middle, a yellow two-handed grip, and a purple pommel with light purple ornaments around it. But Issei's Balming had none of that. Even the type of sword is wrong because Issei's Balming was a great sword. That's because it's two different swords, Issei said. He was still feeding Office. Balming in the stories is strong, but it doesn't hold a candle to my Balming. Especially once I activate its full power. Irina and Zenobia didn't know what to think. The amount of power they felt from the sword was already intense, but it wasn't its full power. Now that's just absurd. But they can't deny that Issei was telling the truth. They saw how Drake was afraid of the sword. In Sona's house, Sona admired her looks in front of her mirror. She isn't a narcissist, but she likes how she looks with her clothes. Even if it was a magical girl outfit. Actually, she thinks it makes her look sexier by showcasing her curves. Sona was doing a few poses that she thinks make her look fantastic. She was wondering what Issei thinks of her body. Sona shook her head. For a while now, Sona has been thinking about Issei. She was thinking about why and when it started. All Sona knew was that it began when she saw Issei training with Kiba, Akeno and Kaneko. He took his shirt off and changed to a fresh one. That's when she felt hot and bothered. But that's not all. Issei was intelligent, capable and caring, things she found attractive in him. Other than that, nothing. Thinking a bit, Sona realized that she had a crush on Issei. She shook her head and tried to take her mind off of him. Oh, my, Sona thought. She didn't know why she had a crush on Issei. It couldn't have just been her seeing his body, right? She then thought about his body, and she felt hot. I think I need to take a cold shower. Sona proceeded to take her clothes off and take a long cold shower. She hopes that it will be enough to make her body stop reacting the way it is. It was not enough. That night, loud moans would be heard throughout Sona's house. Boy, if Serafall heard Sona moan Issei's name, she would be well, it could go two ways. Serafall would either be delighted or she would put Issei through her groom training. End of the here. So that's it for today's video guys. Before you go, just like the video and share it with your friends. Bye.